I have to go execute some trades after this pod. I guess one other thing I want to get into, getting back to our main subject of today, is just you referred to app-specific sequencing, Kyle, by a crass name earlier. But I just want to talk about the relationship that Solana should have with its apps. I think that something you could think about is a world in which apps become start to take REV away from Solana, maybe, or search for ways to capture more value relative to the Solana L1, not in the same way, but in a same business consideration direction as L2's taking value away from Ethereum. So how do you kind of grow the pie for Solana DeFi and allow sustainable businesses to grow without these apps basically becoming parasitic to Solana?
Yeah, I was talking with Max and Matt Sorg about this yesterday. The vision of Solana was on-chain NASDAQ, and there's been a handful of attempts at on-chain limit order books, Serum, and then more recently Phoenix. Drift has one as well, and I think Loopscale recently launched one for borrow lend. And Phoenix today effectively is dead. The Ellipsis team more or less killed it and has their SolFi thing running now. As a practical statement, on-chain limit order books are not good enough yet to rival CeFi. They're not going to ever. Maybe we'll get to fully better than CeFi one day, but they're not close enough yet to compete with CeFi as of now. And so as a result, we have mostly AMMs and off-chain stuff is the substitute we have effectively. And Drift has both of those live today. I want on-chain limit orders to exist, and the only way to get there is with prioritized cancels. And so the guys kind of designing application-specific sequencing have that in mind as the primary use case, and are going to try and make that happen. I believe I think that's just actually net accretive, because today on-chain limit order books don't exist because it's market makers stopped quoting. So if you add the application-specific sequencing, that will make it possible to have cancels at the top of the block, which will allow market makers to quote. So I just think it's strictly accretive to Solana, which and to the applications as well. So I'm just a fan all around.
Yeah, Chris, I'll let you.
Yeah, I think basically summarize why we need it to make market makers better. I think more just high level view. I think I heard Tolly talking about it, and his view is if we don't add this thing, apps will eventually leave because they'll want to build order books. And that makes me very bullish, because fundamentally a blockchain is about getting app developers to build useful things. And I think just the framing of what do we not have in the protocol that's stopping people from building valuable applications, and then let's add that, is super important, especially versus maybe older legacy players who kind of just gave up on that. So I'm very pulled up on app specific sequencing, because it's just an acknowledgement of what the problem is and where we need to go to keep making things better. So I think it's a good step in the right direction.
So to make this more concrete, let's say as a hypothetical, Pump Fund says, hey, we've been driving so much value to Solana, so much rev is captured by Solana validators because of the business that we do. And so forget this, we're launching Pump L2 and it settles as an optimistic roll-up type thing to Solana. Do these kinds of fixes solve for that problem, where basically an app gets so big that it just says, we don't need Solana anymore, we can do our own distribution, we're going to settle as little data to the chain or do as little on chain as possible, because then we can capture value to our own business instead?
I mean, yes, it's certainly adding stuff like application specific sequencing will mitigate people's desire to do that. No questions asked. And obviously the goal with Solana has always been a single global state machine. And so you got to serve the developers though, if you want to get there.
Yeah, my philosophy on DeFi is that users and app builders / asset issuers want to meet on the place that maximizes this trade-off between decentralization and performance. You bring up Pump Fund. If they're on their own L2, do I really want to issue my tokens on Pump Fund's L2? Probably not. You want it to be a global platform that, no one can turn off. It has all those properties of a global platform. So it's like, I think Solana's threading that needle between decentralization and performance that you need to like be the Schelling point for users, app builders, and asset issuers.